I know. Whole fishbowl.
I'm so awkward. Okay.
We're just like context. We are right now, the coaching lever that we are working on is this idea of like a mini P3.
Okay.
That like we do a full P3 to like really deepen our content knowledge, but coaches can do a mini P3 to pull certain coaching levers to like accelerate a teacher in their skill. Okay. So that's what I'm testing out today.
We did yesterday. Okay.
I was gonna say, you did this yesterday.
Okay.
I got to watch your video yesterday.
Okay.
And give your coach some feedback. So I'm like, if I'm gonna ask others to do it, I'm gonna also be willing to do it. So
okay.
I'm looking to get some feedback myself. So thank you so much because for being our guinea pig, you were just such an incredible instructor that I'm so honored I get to do this with you.
Okay.
Morgan told me your action step is around getting kids invested in the CFS, releasing them to work, and then using that CFS to have them roll. I saw you post that CFS today and release them to work.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back to that when we get into our practice.
Okay.
But I want to get into your brain to see like what we saw, so that like it helps me guide our thinking as we get into practice day.
Okay.
Cool. When we came in, we saw kids taking annotations on pages 4 and 5 of Venom. And I saw that you chunked what kids were doing. Tell me your thinking.
So we chunked it, but this time we did bigger chunks, so combining paragraph 1 and 2, because I am a paragraph by paragraph chunker, but I know that it's probably holding them back a little bit more. So like when we P3, we talked about like, you know, kids to read 100 words per minute. So like I need to like take the training wheels off and let them like get longer text. So we chunked it that way. We had set up our scratch paper, like, cause I'm just trying to get them in the mindset of like mock leap and like when you first see the text, what do? How do you set up your paper? This is informational. So we spent a lot of time doing that part.
Okay.
Cause I do want them to be independent for that.
Yeah.
Like later on in life. But so that's why we chunked it out, and it was just main idea, details. I hope I answered your question.
You did.
Okay.
And you're helping me find like some more thinking, so I want to continue to uncover. What do you mean around, like, tell me more about what you mean about like the main idea details prompt.
Yeah, so I think sometimes like when they just, cause like I know like back in 3rd grade, it's like, oh, like what's the most important thing? And they'll think like probably something that's shocking to them, but it wasn't the most important thing in that paragraph. So I was trying to like remind them of like, look at the first sentence. Sometimes that's a clue of like what this whole paragraph is about. So just try to guide more of like what goes on in just paper versus being like, just put the most important thing.
Okay.
So that's why I chunked it by like main idea was whole paragraph out. And then the details should support the main idea. So like, oh, this is the poisonous animals. What did you learn about poisonous animals? Because sometimes I feel like they reverse it. Like they'll put this tiny detail and say the whole paragraph was about a tiny detail.
Okay, that's really helpful because I had a lot of questions around like the detail piece. Yeah. Because I was like, ooh, that's a lot of details then to write. Because the other context that I'm thinking about in terms of like the way these 4th grade lessons are chock-a-block full of like things to do by the end of the lesson. Yeah. Like, did we get to the animal behavior? Right. No. Right. So I'm worried about you spending so much time on the Venom reading that kids don't get to the independent reading in animal behaviors. Gotcha. I want to help, and right, so I'm thinking about like how to help prioritize what kids need to do in each chunk of the lesson so that they can get everything accomplished. Yeah. Not just the Venom reading. Okay. That's my thought here. Having said that, I want to pull up my favorite tool, which is our unit internalization tool. I want us to look at the scope and sequence. Because you're thinking, like, what I heard you say was like, this was their first time doing this in the unit. How many other times do kids get practice with paraphrasing and Venom?
Yeah, I know, like, it's literally the next lesson. They paraphrase again. And then, lesson 4. Right? Or where are you going?
Keep going.
Oh, okay. Wait, so just 4? No.
So they do it in lessons 2, and lessons 3,
and then 4.
Lesson 4, lesson 7,
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay.
I know, my computer. Lesson 8.
Wait, where are you?
So I'm looking here at the text.
Okay. I was looking at these boxes.
That's good too. Yeah.
Okay.
The knowledge and skills that kids have to do. They're going to create the summary of Venom. Mm-hmm. They're unpacking a model summary of Venom. Same here, lesson 8.
Okay.
Now they're going to interpret a diagram in lesson 8 using Venom, and then write a summary about the diagram.
Yes.
So we see that kids get multiple at-bats in almost every lesson in this unit. So I'm thinking about, how are we releasing independence? Tell me why you're smiling.
No, because I know that's what I'm going to work on, is like letting them.
We're all working. Like, this is what work ratio means.
Yeah.
Right? So we know that kids are going to also write a main idea paragraph on the mid-unit.
Yes.
What do kids need to be able to do on the mid-unit to be successful? I don't know if that this is going to help you, but think back to unit internalization. If you want, I can pull up the mid-unit.
Yeah. I mean, they're going to have to be able to read, just take quick notes, find a main idea.
They're going to write a main idea paragraph on the mid-unit. So I'm thinking about, how are we setting up practice in lessons 3, 4, and 5 to get kids to that independent main idea paragraph that they're going to do in lesson 6.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Cool. Having said that, I want us to look at lesson 3.
Okay.
And I want us to look at the Venom section of lesson 3 to figure out, what does the lesson say we need to do with this text? How are we going to build student independence to practice? And how does that set us up on that trajectory of getting kids ready by lesson 6?
Okay.
Sound good?
Yes.
All right. Pull up. You have the lesson?
Yeah.
Beautiful. What section of the lesson do kids read Venom?
They're going to read. They read Venom. Well, paraphrasing again. It's the B's, 16 and 17, the B stories, when they're going to read Venom.
Yep. What do kids do?
They are, so I think I'm reading no, I'm lying. This is the other part. They are talking about the gist. They do turn and talks with their neighbor, and then they have to paraphrase the text.
Yeah. Something that
and use their notes to paraphrase. Yes.
Tell me more.
Okay. Yeah, they're taking notes, and then at the end they paraphrase, explain it in their own words, and they write it.
Yes. In EL, we name a summary for fiction texts. They spent all of module 1 writing summaries. Yeah. Right. And then when we get to nonfiction texts, they call it paraphrasing. Okay. A summary and a paraphrase are the same thing. Great. Okay. Having said that, I saw that I'm getting ahead of myself. If kids are essentially writing a summary by the end of this section of the text, what is the purpose of the notes that they take in this section of the lesson?
I mean, the purpose is to understand what the text is about, so that they can just retell it. Right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah.
So, how can we start to release student independence? I know. Okay. How can we start to release student independence with those notes that they need to take in order for them to successfully write a summary paragraph? A main idea paragraph.
Release them to be independent. Okay.
So let's read through here. Yeah. I don't want you to, this is not a gotcha, this is not a guess. No, yeah. Let's read through this section of the lesson. How does EL set us up? And then how do we either want to round up or what do we want to do to make sure that we are releasing kids successfully? Okay. So take 2-3 minutes. Let's read through opening A and identify, what does EL want us to do? And does it set students up for independence, or do we need to round up so that we are setting students up for independence? Okay. Okay? Let's take a minute to read.
Okay, I think I get it.
Talk to me,
so they're gonna read the bee stories and Venom. They're taking notes, and then they just have like this conversation with their shoulder partner where they're paraphrasing what the text was about. And it says they do need to write the paraphrase down, so that's definitely where they could be independent. There's more. Okay.
How many times? How many times do they? How do they experience the text? How are they?
I'm reading it. Yeah.
How many times do you read it?
I think I read it one time without interruption, and the second time, like just in style where we take down notes, right?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm really like, that really jumped out to me as I was reading this. Read aloud. Sorry, I'm on page 70.
Okay.
1. Mm-hmm. I'm on bullet, choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay.
I know. Sorry, meet me halfway down the page where it says read aloud, pages 16 to 17.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Read aloud pages 16 to 17 in Venom, stopping briefly after each paragraph. If necessary, during each short pause, remind students to fill in notes on their note catcher.
Okay.
That feels really important to me. Mm-hmm. Why am I like, oh yes, alarm bells, star it, highlight it?
Yeah, because it's saying like if it's necessary, then I need to pause. Mm-hmm. But if it's not, I just need to keep going. So like I don't have to stop after each paragraph and be like, oh, what's the main idea?
How will you know if you're gonna pause or if you're gonna?
I'm gonna look and see if they have it on the paper. Yes. Okay. Yeah, look and see if they're matching my notes.
Yes.
And if they are, we could just keep rolling.
Yeah.
And if not, yeah. Okay.
And if not, what are you gonna do?
I am going to probably like show call and like, okay, this one's right, and like have that kid explain why he put what he put on his paper.
You could show call.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say that's what you absolutely need to do. Mm-hmm. I think you narrate.
Oh, okay.
Because I think that's a perfect match for when I think about your action step of like posting and investing kids in the CFS, releasing kids to do the work. The next step is narrating against the CFS.
Okay.
Ooh, I see Morgan is jotting an annotation after this paragraph. She has noticed an important gist that's going to help us with the main idea.
Okay.
Tell me what you're thinking.
I know my brain. Okay, so if it's like off and wrong.
Tell me more.
Like let's say friend just puts a random note. And I'm seeing that. Like if I'm just narrating like, oh, like
open up your text with me. Let's play this out. Let's play this out.
Okay.
If a kid, because this is like what I've been playing around with this idea too of like, okay, so if a kid puts the wrong answer, what would the wrong answer sound like, and what do we want to do to redirect them?
Okay. So like if they're in the first paragraph or whatever. Okay. So like they just put kills more people in the U.S. and there's like nothing else. Like it does come from the text, but it's just like that's not the most important thing, or like it's lacking detail. Like who's killing things? Like it's the bees. Okay. So like if I narrate the CFS, I'm going to.
I was gonna say I don't think we even have a CFS yet to narrate against. Right now we're just narrating like, oh, so and so's gisting.
Okay.
But I made that connection to your action step to be like, oh yes, narration. Like that's the tool that I want you to use.
Okay.
Keep going.
So like would I be like, oh, I see a friend that wrote like it's killing everything in the US, but like, what is it? Like
I want to bring us back into the lesson plan.
Okay.
On a couple bullets, so still on page 71.
Okay.
I want you to start at the bullet that says remind students. Actually, I want you to start, yeah, you can start there. And I want you to read through what will kids already know before your second read of the text.
Oh yeah, this is the second read. Okay, but yeah. What they're already gonna know. I mean, they're gonna know it's about bees. They're gonna know, yeah, it's the second read.
They're gonna know it's about bees. What else?
They're going to know that we are learning animal defense mechanisms.
They're gonna know it's about animal defense mechanisms. And what else?
And
They're going to know what bees, so put those two things together. They're going to know it's about bees. They're going to know it's about animal defense mechanisms, so they're going to know what about bees.
Oh, that bees, you know, they think like they have venom and sting people so they can defend themselves and others. So,
which is the main idea of this text.
That is true, yeah.
So we know, so when you see off gists for the second read, what are you going to do?
Yeah, narrate around like, remember this is animal defense mechanisms. Our notes should be focused on how the bees are defending themselves and blah, blah, blah. Yes.
How does that set kids up to start being more independent?
Because they're going to be laser focused on like the main topic of like the whole module. Great answer. Yes, I'm going to narrate it on that. Perfect. Great.
So run it back to me. How are you having kids engage with this text in this section of the lesson?
How am I having them engage?
Tell me about this section of the lesson. What are we doing?
All right, we're reading about the bees. It's the second read. They are gisting, and the purpose of the gist is for them to understand the bees' animal defense mechanism. So they should only be gisting about the bees' animal defense mechanisms, so that we can paraphrase and write.
You're going to read the text aloud first. And say,
yeah.
You're going to read the text aloud first. You're going to have them do it. It says, you're going to have them do a turn and talk to stamp, like, what is the gist of this text overall? What's the main idea of these 2 pages? Now we're going to read it a second time. You're going to annotate as I read aloud to find moments that match our main idea. And then what are you going to have kids do? After they've gisted, what do kids ultimately produce?
They're going to paraphrase and they're going to write it in their own words. So I think afterwards they turn to their shorter partner, they look off their notes, they paraphrase their notes, explain their own words, and then they invite students to write their paragraph version of the text on their note catchers.
So what do we want our CFS to look like for this chunk of the lesson?
I would like them to introduce the text. Always.
Again, like, I think it's fair to say to kids, like, we have spent module 1 writing summary after summary. We are in module 2. You are writing a summary, but instead of talking about the theme, we're talking about the main idea. No need to hide the ball from kids.
Okay, so CFS, similar to the one today, right? Like, it's just introduce the text. What is the main idea, and then the details that support it, but all in your own words? Okay. Yay.
Here's my thought.
Okay.
What I did, thinking about this section of the lesson and like what kids need to do to be successful, is I read this chunk of the text and I identified where would I want kids to jot.
Okay.
That's what I want you to do before you teach this. Identify, so see, like, it's a little chaotic because I used to post it, but you can go to where would I want kids to jot in that second read.
Okay.
The next thing I did, and I think this is going to be helpful, but this is like this is helpful for you. This isn't something I want you to push kids on yet.
Okay.
Is what jots are absolutely essential to proving the main idea that bees are using stingers to protect themselves.
Okay.
And I say that because there's some jots in here around, like, the bee eater is a type of bird that eats bees for breakfast. So sweet.
Yeah.
Does that have anything to do with bees and their stingers?
No.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
So do the thinking that you're going to ask kids to do. Note it in your text so you also know where in the text to push kids back to.
Okay.
So, what's your homework?
Okay, my homework is I'm going to read this and I'm going to find the spaces where kids should absolutely be jotting.
Because
and taking notes. Yeah.
Then it comes back to this bullet point of, like, when you look up and pause, what will you now know?
Like, I'm going to know who's, like, just incorrectly.
If they're just in a spot that you want them to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm thinking back to your action step. Post the CFS.
Yes.
You have your CFS. Read it back to me one more time.
Okay, I have them introducing the text, giving the main idea, and then evidence that supports the main idea.
Push them on evidence.
Okay.
Here's what I mean by that. In the past, we've said 2 to 3 pieces.
Yeah.
I have 1 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7 pieces of evidence that could work. Push them.
Okay. Okay.
I want you to practice the end. I want us to pretend it's like the end of this work time. You're about to release kids to work and write that summary paragraph.
Okay.
I want you to tell me what we're about to do, but instead of telling me the CFS, I want you to pretend I'm all the students in your class. And I want you to have me, your students, tell you the CFS. Why do I want students to say the CFS instead of you?
Because it's going to show that they understand like what I'm asking them to do.
At the end of the day, if we're getting kids to read the directions, that is one step closer to them being able to like identify the thinking that they need to do when we ask them to do it on the assessment or on the week.
Wait. So I'm going to say it and then I'm going to ask you to repeat it, or do I want them just to read the CFS first?
Read the CFS first.
Without me? Yes. Okay.
Do you want me to like?
Of course.
Okay. I know.
Yes.
I know. Call me Tyra.
Turn that down. Yes.
Class. We just did all this beautiful thinking about pages 16 and 17 of Venom. Now it's time for us to write our main idea summary paragraph. Put your eyes on the board. Our board has the CFS. What's the first thing our summary paragraph needs to have? Amani.
The introduction, introduce the text.
What's the second thing you're going to write in your main idea paragraph? Amani. But you know you're going to call
the
it.
main idea, right? I need to write it. They're going to introduce the text and they're going to have the main idea.
Yeah.
Oh, the main idea, okay. And then
what's the next thing we're going to have in our summary paragraph?
The evidence that supports the main idea.
Remember, you're writing as much evidence as you can based off the notes that you pulled to prove your main idea. I don't want just 2 pieces. I want you to go until you can't.
Okay.
You have 10 minutes to write your main idea paragraph. Go.
All right.
What did you notice about my model?
I noticed that it was straight to the point. It wasn't super wordy, so I didn't get lost in like what's step 1, what's step 2, step 3.
Because who was saying step 1, step 2, step 3?
Oh, I sure was. Yes, I did say step 1.
Students will say
students
steps.
will say it. Yeah. Okay, my turn.
Your turn.
All right. Okay, guys, we just finished pages 16 and 17 of this text, so we are going to write our main idea summary. Put your eyes on CFS. Great. Such as a checking. Great. Phoebe, can you read the first thing our CFS needs to have? Oh,
Flip it. What's the first thing we need to do? Call on the student.
First thing you do. Okay. What's the first thing that we need to do, Stevie?
Name the text, title, and author, and the topic.
Great. What's the second thing we need to do, Stevie?
Name the main idea.
Great. And what's the next thing we need to do?
Include evidence that proves the main idea.
Yes. And guys, I want as much evidence as possible. Miss K found 8. Beat Miss K. Great, go.
We love a challenge.
Yes, we love challenges, so yes.
How does having kids read the CFS set them up for independence?
Because they're saying it and they know it and they're owning it versus me just saying it. I think it just makes it more sticky. Yeah.
All right, friend. You're gonna rock and roll with this chunk of text.
We are.
What is gonna change from what you did today to what you're gonna do tomorrow?
What's gonna change? The gisting and the reading part, because it's gonna be a lot more independent. We're only gonna stop if it's necessary versus stopping every single paragraph. And I think when it's time to write and paraphrase, they're gonna understand the CFS more because they said it. And they know that the evidence is unlimited versus like, oh, just find 2 or just find 3. So they're gonna be a lot more independent tomorrow, for sure.
How does that set them up for the mid-unit?
Because the mid-unit is very independent.
Totally independent.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, but I mean, they're gonna get practice. I think they're gonna understand the CFS more. So, when it's time to take the test, they're gonna have an idea what the CFS is and what the expectation is.
Ms. K, as always, it is an absolute delight working with you, my friend.
Yay,
Thank you so
Well, this was
much.
great. Yeah.
Good. It was? It felt
No,
good?